Good morning everyone. Welcome to this edition of Weekly Roundup. In Weekly Roundup, we cover the most important news development of the last week. My name is Anuj and I will be taking this session. In this session, we will be covering 5 main news, 7 quick update and 1 place in news. In the first main news is about the number of judges in the Supreme Court, and the context is that the Union Cabinet have approved the Supreme Court number of judge amendment bill 2026. Then the next news is about the technologies in the defense sector, and the context is that the defense minister have pushed for the edge in the emerging high-tech technologies for the defense sector. Then next news is about a report, and the report is about crimes in India 2024, which is released by NCRB. Then the next news is about MSMEs, as the IMF working paper have highlighted the productive gains in the Indian MSMEs due to digitalization. Then the last main news is about lithium ion batteries and other alternative batteries. So these are the main news. Along with the main news, we will be also discussing the PYQs both from the prelims as well as from the mains perspective. After the main news, we will be briefly discussing the 7 quick update, and in between we will be discussing the place in news. And for this week, the place in news is UAE. So this is a brief about the today's session. Let us start the today session. In the first main news, we will be covering about the number of judges in a Supreme Court. The context is that the Union Cabinet have approved the Supreme Court number of judges amendment bill 2026. In this news, we will be basically covering article 124. In this, we will be covering about the appointment process, qualification and the number of judges. It is related to paper 2, where syllabus talks about structure, organization and functioning of the executive and the judiciary. Let us start the discussion of this news. First of all, the development. What is the development? The development is that the bill seek to amend the Supreme Court Number of Judges Act 1956 to increase the judges' strength from the Supreme Court from the present 33 to 37, which does not include CGI. If we include the CGI, presently there are 34, and it seek to increase the number of judges to 38. In the original constitution, the number of judges were given that 1 CGI and 7 other judges that can be increased by the law of a parliament. And what are the qualification to become a judge of Supreme Court? So basically, qualification is that he or she should be citizen of India. So this is must, that a Supreme Court judge will be a citizen of India. Then there are other qualification as well. Here it is a judge of High Court for 5 years, or advocate for 10 years, and or a distinguished jurist in the eyes of the president. So he should be citizen of India, and other qualification is that he can be judge of judge of the High Court for 5 years, or he should be an advocate of the High Court for 10 years, or he or she should be a distinguished jurist. So these are the qualification to become a judge of the Supreme Court. Here you have to remember 2 things. One, minimum age to become the Supreme Court judge is not given in the Constitution. Second, the provision of distinguished jurist is not there for the High Court. Okay, a person who is considered as a distinguished jurist in the eyes of the president can become a judge in the Supreme Court, but this criteria is not there for the High Court. And why there has been increase, or why there is been proposal to increase the number of judges in the Supreme Court? Because of the pendency of the cases. The pendency of the cases have increased from higher than 92,000. You might have heard that dialogue कि जस्टिस लेने आते हैं और मिलती है तो सिर्फ तारीख, तो तारीख पे तारीख, that famous dialogue by Sunny Deol. So basically, to reduce the pendency, there have been proposal to increase the number of the judges. Let us move forward in this article and discuss about the article 124, the other aspect of the article 124 of the Indian Constitution. So basically, this article provides for the establishment of the Supreme Court and empower the Parliament to determine the number of judges over time. Originally, there was 8 judges including the CGI, and this number have been increased many times by the Parliament, and for the first time Parliament enacted the Supreme Court Number of Judges Act 1956 to fix the number of judges of Supreme Court at 10 excluding the CGI. So this act have been subsequently amended to increase the number of the judges in the Supreme Court. It was amended in the year 1977, it was also amended in the year 1986, then in the year 2008, and lastly in the year 2019. And when this bill will become the act, the number will increase to 38, and this bill will be amended, or this original act will be amended for the 5th time. So this is about the bill. Now let us move forward and understand about the appointment of a Supreme Court judge. You might have heard about the collegium system. In the last year mains examination, even the UPSC have asked about the evolution of the collegium system. In your basic polity book, you might have read about the first judge's case, second judge's case, third judge's case. That is the basic evolution of collegium system. So here, once the amended law comes into the force, basically after becoming the act, the Supreme Court collegium would recommend judges to the government for the appointment at the top court, and the recommendations of the collegium would be sent to the law minister, and the law minister will send it to the prime minister, and prime minister will advise to the president, and president will appoint the judge of a Supreme Court. And now the significance of increasing the number of the judges of Supreme Court, already we have discussed, to reduce the pendency. Let us discuss it again. So additional judges will help in the faster disposal of cases, timely delivery of justice, and reducing the pendency of cases. So you should be aware about the pendency of the cases, and it is higher in the lower judiciary. You should also read about the reason and its impact. So this was all about the first news. Now let us discuss the PYQs related to this news. First PYQ is from the prelims 2019. Whenever you see such type of question which is very lengthy, you should keep calm and try to solve that question, and try to first of all read all the statement, all the words that are given in such a question. So basically you have to read all the question, and you should not get anxiety or threatened by a question which is lengthy. Let us solve this question. So statement 1, the motion to impeach a judge of the Supreme Court of India cannot be rejected by the Speaker of the Lok Sabha as per the Judges Inquiry Act 1968. So this is not correct. Supreme Court, this motion can be rejected by the Speaker or by the Chairperson in the case of Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha respectively. Second statement, the Constitution of India defines and gives detail of what constitute incapacity and proved misbehavior of the judges of the Supreme Court of India. So basically, judge of a Supreme Court can be removed for incapacity and proved misbehavior, but these terms are not defined in the Indian Constitution. So this statement is also correct, then incorrect. Then third statement, the details of the process of the impeachment of the judges of the Supreme Court of India are given in the Judges Inquiry Act 1968. This is a correct statement. Then the fourth statement, if the motion for the impeachment of judges is taken up for voting, the law requires that the motion to be backed by each house of the parliament and supported by a majority of total membership of that house and by not less than 2/3 of the total member of that house present and voting. So basically it requires special majority for removal of judges. The news related to removal of judges is continuously in newspaper because of Justice Verma. Please be very clear, the term impeachment is not mentioned for the removal of a Supreme Court judge. It is mentioned only for president. So such type of basic fact should be remembered. So answer is C, 3 and 4 only. Let us discuss one more PYQ related to Supreme Court from the year 2024 prelims. It is a basic question from the concepts of the polity. The question is, the writ of prohibition is an order issued by the Supreme Court or the High Court to 1. A government officer prohibiting him from taking a particular action. Actually it is related to mandamus, so it is not the correct answer. Second, the Parliament Legislative Assembly to pass a law on prohibition. Supreme Court or High Court cannot direct the Parliament or Legislative Assembly like that. Then the statement 3, the lower court prohibiting continuation of a proceeding in a case. It is related to writ of prohibition. You might be aware that there are 5 types of writ which are available with the Supreme Court and the High Court. Answer here is the third option. The last year mains question. Question is, discuss the evolution of the collegium system in India. You have to discuss about the evolution, first judge case, second judge case and the other aspect. Then the second part, critically examine the advantages and disadvantages of the system of appointment of the judges of the Supreme Court of India and that of USA. This is the second part. Here you have to examine the advantages and disadvantages of this appointment system in India with that of USA. That was the demand of the mains question from the last year. With this, we have completed the first news. Now let us discuss the second main news. Second main news is about the technology in the defense sector. And the context here is that the defense minister have pushed for edge in the emerging high-tech technologies in the defense sector. In this, we will be discussing about significance of the technologies in the defense sector and what initiative government has taken to push for technologies in the defense sector. It is related to paper 3, internal security. Let us discuss this news in detail. First of all, the development. So development is very simple, and it is that at a symposium, at the North Tech Symposium, the defense minister have stressed for requirement of edges in the technology for the defense sector. Before moving forward in this news, let us discuss about a historical fact. You might have read about the first battle of Panipat. On the one side, it was Babur, and on the other side, it was Ibrahim Lodi. So basically, Ibrahim Lodi was having larger army when compared to Babur. He was also having war elephant. So at that time, having war elephant was a big advantage. So Babur used many factors, and one of the factor was the cannons. So basically he was having 15 to 20 cannons, and which proved decisive in this battle, in the first battle of Panipat. So that shows the importance of technologies or the higher technologies in the warfare. In the recent context as well, as the war is going on between the USA, Israel and the Iran, there has been demonstration of the usage of technologies. Even the usage of AI was there to pinpoint the supreme leader of Iran. That was there in the news. Now let us discuss this news in detail. So first of all, what are the emerging domains in the defense sector, the technological domains in the defense sector? First is directed energy weapon, and second is hypersonic weapon system, third artificial intelligence, and fourth quantum technologies. First, it is directed energy weapons. You might have seen the movie Avengers, and sorry, not the Avengers, but the Superman. So where Superman emits the electromagnetic radiation from his eyes, that is basically the directed energy weapon. That is a hypothetical situation, but in the real world such type of energy can be also used in war. It is a ranged weapon that use concentrated electromagnetic energy like laser, microwaves and particulate beams. Then second, the hypersonic weapon system. Basically these are the systems which have the speed 5 times than the speed of the sound. What is the speed of the sound? It is somewhere around 543 meters per second, and when a weapon is almost 5 times at higher speed than the speed of the sound, that is hypersonic weapon system, and it include hypersonic glide vehicles that follows a path like a ball. If you throw a ball in the air, that will be hypersonic glide vehicle, that similar to the hypersonic glide vehicle. Then hypersonic cruise missile that follow a path near to the terrain. So these are the weapons under hypersonic weapon system. Then artificial intelligence. So artificial intelligence is important for cyber defense as well as predictive maintenance. So it will analyze the information which is given to it in a more faster way. And recently you might have seen that Iran attacked on the data centers in the Middle Eastern countries to hamper the usage of AI. Then lastly, it is about the quantum technologies. So you might have heard about quantum superimposition, quantum entanglement. So in entanglement, two particles, although they will be at the far distance, will be intertwined with one another. If there is a disturbance in one particle, there will be automatic disturbance in the another particle. So this property of the quantum technology, that is entanglement, can be used for encrypting the messages. So these are the emerging domain of defense technology. Now let us move further in this news and discuss about the government initiative for emerging defense technology. So if there is a question in a mains examination, you can write about these initiative. One is IDEX, that stand for Innovation for Defense Excellence. So basically, government is supporting the MSMEs to foster innovation and indigenization in the defense and the aerospace. It is a central sector scheme. Under this, there is Atiti, that stand for Acing Development of Innovative Technologies with IDEX. It aims to develop 30 critical deep tech and strategic technologies to reduce the import dependence. You might have heard the news that most of our MSMEs or most of our startups are involved in the basic concept, not involving them into deep tech technologies. So government is supporting the startups to involve in the deep tech and collaborate and perform for the defense sector. Then institutional framework for AI, there is Defense AI Council and Defense AI Project Agency. Then we have hypersonic weapon development, and its example include Dhavani hypersonic glide vehicles. So these are the initiative taken by the government for emerging defense technologies. Now let us discuss the PYQ related to the defense tech, and there are 4 PYQs from the year 2025. This shows the importance of defense tech in the recent prelims examination. Even in the year 2024, questions related to defense was there in the prelims examination. These questions are from the set A. 42nd question first. With reference to unmanned aerial vehicles, consider the following statement. Statement 1. All type of UAE can do vertical landing. So this is an extreme statement. So UAVs with rotatory motion can do vertical landing, but some of the UAVs require the horizontal landing as well. So this is not an correct statement. Second, all type of UAVs can do automated hovering. So this was there in the news last year related to kamikaze drone. So specific UAVs can do automated hovering, not all type of UAVs. So this statement is also incorrect. Third statement, all type of UAVs can use battery only as a source of power supply. So this is double extreme statement. All is also there and only is also there. This is also an incorrect statement. Answer would be D, none. Now the 42nd question. So what is the common characteristics of chemical substances generally known as CL20, that stands for China Lake 20, HMX, and LLM 105, which are sometimes talked about in the media. So they were there in the news, and when such type of term based questions are asked in the prelims examination, there are only 2 options. Either you know the answer or you don't know the answer. If you have read about these terms, you might be able to solve such type of question. Otherwise it will become very difficult if you guess in such type of question. Let us read what are the options given. A, these are alternative to hydrocarbon refrigerator. Second, these are explosive in military weapons. C, these are high energy fuels for cruise missile. D, these are fuels for the rocket propulsion. The answer is B, that these are explosive in the military weapons. Let us discuss 2 more PYQ from the last year itself, that is from the year 2025. The 84th question. With reference to India's defense, consider the following pair. On the left side, aircraft type is given, and on the right side, description is given. 1. Dornier 228. So it is a maritime patrol aircraft. Basically, it is there with Army as well as Navy for surveillance. So this is correctly matched. Then second statement, IL-76, it is given as supersonic combat aircraft. So basically it is not supersonic combat aircraft, it is related to transport. Then C-10 Globemaster 3, military transport aircraft. It is used by India and it is a military transport aircraft. So answer for this is B, only 2. One more question. Question number 94. GPS aided geo augmented navigation Gagan, which is developed by ISRO and Airport Authority of India, uses a system of ground station to provide a necessary augmentation. Which of the following statement is or are correct in respect of Gagan? So basically if you know about Gagan and its objective, you will be able to solve this question. First statement, it is designed to provide additional accuracy and integrity, and it is related to augmented navigation. So automatically it will lead to better accuracy and integrity. This statement is correct. Then second statement, it will allow more uniform and high quality air traffic management. That is the basic aim of it. This is also an correct statement. Statement 3, it will provide benefits only in aviation but not in other modes of transportation. This is not correct statement. It is also for providing better services or better navigation technologies in railway, shipping as well as in roadways. So this is not an correct statement. Answer would be B, 2 and 3 only. So with this we have completed the second main news. Now let us discuss the third main news for today. So the third main news is related to the data released by NCRB. So these data can be used in the mains examination to support your answer. So context is that NCRB have released Crimes in India 2024 report. It is related to paper 2, where syllabus talks about important aspect of governance. Let us discuss the key highlight of data, and before discussing that, let us discuss about NCRB, that is National Crime Record Bureau, which is there under Ministry of Home Affairs. Let us discuss about this. If there is a prelims question from this news, it will be regarding the NCRB. First of all, its establishment, it was established in the year 1986 on the recommendations of basic 3 committees. One was Tandon Committee, then National Police Commission and MHA Task Force. So it was established in 1986, and what is the basic mandate of it? It functions as a central repository of information on crime and criminals to assist investigation in linking crimes to perpetrators. So basic function of it is to act as a central repository. So it was very easy in the past years when a person used to commit a crime in one state and he and or she used to settle in another state. So to overcome such challenges, there is central repository of information on crimes and criminals, and it assists our authorities and investigator in linking crimes to the perpetrator. Then discussing about the major initiative, one is Crime and Criminal Tracking Network and System. This that was started in the year 2009, has connected 15,000 plus police stations across India. So if there is a FIR or if there is a crime and which is registered in one of the police station, and that person is again involved in another crime and he get located in another police station, that can be connected together. Then National Digital Police Portal, that was started in the year 2017, It help in police in search criminal suspect on CC and TNS, that is crime and criminal tracking network and services, and citizen can file online complaint and verify tenants as well. Now you might have heard that you can file the online complaint. So that is with the help of this portal. And also there are some basic verifications, such as one has to verify his or her tenant, that can be verified on National Digital Police Portal. It is under the National Crime Record Bureau. That's why when I started discussing about National Crime Record Bureau, I have said if there is a question in the prelims examination from this news, it will be from NCRB, that is National Crime Record Bureau. Then what are the key database? One is National Database of Sexual Offenders. Then Online Cybercrime Reporting Portal. So if there is a cyber crime and one has to report about it, that he or she can be report on online cybercrime reporting portal, and it publishes other data as well related to accidental death and suicides in India, as well as prison statistics. So the data provided by the NCRB is the most authentic data which can be used in the answer writing in the mains examination. It might be related to crimes in India, it might be related to accidental death and suicide in India, or it might be related to the prison reforms in India. So these are the data which are given by the NCRB. It is there under the Ministry of Home Affairs. Now let us discuss the key details under the report. What are the key highlights? First of all, overall there is 58 lakhs cognizable crime were registered in the country in the year 2024. So what are cognizable crimes? These crimes are serious crime. For arresting or for investigation in such crimes, there is no requirement of warrant. Crime related to killing, rape, or other very serious crime, they are considered, or they are there under cognizable crimes. Then overall case registered have decreased by 6%, which is a good number, but NCRB has said that the type of crime have increased, that we will be discussing. So these data is very important because it is directly mentioned in your syllabus about the vulnerable section. So let us discuss crime against the vulnerable group. First, against women. So overall the crime against women have decreased by 1.5%, but cruelty by husband is making the largest share, and it shows the patriarchal mindset of the husband, where they think their wife as their property. And a new category called offense against women and child was introduced under the Bharatiya Nyaya Sanhita. Then against children, crimes against children have increased by 5.9%, and against senior citizen, there are also increase in the crime against senior citizen, and it is by 16.9% over the data of 2023, with theft and fraud being the most common offense. So if there is a criminal, he will think that the senior citizen are the easy targets. That's why there is increase in the crimes against the senior citizen. That's why they need a special protection, and by the society as well. Then crime against scheduled caste and scheduled tribe. Crime against scheduled caste have decreased by 3.6%, and crime against scheduled tribe have decreased by 23.1%. Now let us discuss other data which is given in the report, that is specific crime categories. First one is cyber crime. There has been increased in the cyber crime, and mostly it is related to money. You might have heard about digital arrest as well. So with fraud accounting for nearly 73% of these incident, as there has been increase in the adoption of the digital transaction, there has been also threat of increasing cyber crime. Then economic offenses have increased by 4.6%, which is dominated by forgery, cheating and fraud. Then juveniles in conflict with the law. So basically the juveniles are up to the age of 18 have increased by 11.2%. That means the juveniles who are in the conflict with the law, or they have committed a crime, that have increased by 11.2%, and the vast majority is falling under the age group of 16 to 18 years. And that shows the society as well, the impact of society. If there is a children who is living in a society where there is a higher crime, there are chances of that child to commit crime. So these are the special crime categories data. Now let us discuss one PYQ related to this news. So PYQ is from the year 2014 and it is related to mains paper. Question is, we are witnessing increasing instance of sexual violence against women in the country. Despite existing legal provision against it, the number of such incidents is on the rise. Suggest some innovative measures to tackle the menace. So what is the use of our discussion here? So basically in such type of question, when you have to support your argument with the data, you can use the data from such reports, and they are the most authentic report to support such type of question that can enhance and increase specificity in your answer. Now let us move to the next news. The next news is related to MSMEs. The context here is that the IMF working paper have highlighted the productivity gains in Indian MSMEs due to digitalization. So here we will be discussing this context. We will be discussing about the significance of MSMEs for Indian economy and Indian society, as well as what are the government initiative related to MSMEs. It is related to paper 3, where syllabus talks about economic development. Let us start the discussion for this news. First of all, the development. So development is that the IMF paper compared the productivity of MSMEs in the state that have undertaken the digitalization reform. Suppose there is a state where the state have increased the transparency by bringing the digitalization reform. Suppose for registration, there is a portal and you don't have to go to the office for registration. That is digitalization reforms. So state that have implemented more these reforms related to digitalization, recorded higher total factor productivities. That means when there is reform related to digitalization, the total factor productivity has been improved. That has been noticed, or that has been taken note by this IMF paper. And what is this total factor productivity? It is a measure of an economy ability to generate income from the input without increasing the input, basically doing more with less. Before moving forward, let us understand about MSMEs. So the definition of micro, small, medium enterprises was changed in the budget of 2025-26. Now it is being simplified based on investment and turnover. So for micro, it is there that 2.5 crore of investment to 10 crores of turnover. Then for medium, it is investment from 25 crores to turnover up to 100 crores. And sorry, it is for small. Then for medium, it is 125 crores to 500 crores. And now definition for a service MSME or for a manufacturing MSME is the same. It is based on investment and turnover. The criterias are being revised in the budget of 2025-26. Now let us discuss the significance of MSMEs for Indian economy. First of all, it contribute around 30% of India's GDP and account for 35% of country's manufacturing output. So in economic aspect, it is very critical or very important for our economy, as around 1/3 of GDP is proven or contribution by the MSMEs, and in the manufacturing sector the contribution is further high, that is around 35%, and in the recent economic survey it was given that it have increased around 37%. Then employment generation. So basic as MSMEs are the second largest economic generator after, the employment generator after the agriculture. So agriculture provide the largest employment in India, and after that it is MSMEs, and they are responsible for 60% of total employment in India. Then about export promotion, they account for around 45% of India's total export. So this type of data is also important for writing in the mains examination. Then rural revitalization. So it has been observed that around 50%, 51% of MSMEs are there in the rural sector. So please write down in the comment section which state have the highest MSMEs. Please write down in the comment section which state have the highest MSMEs registered. Then women empowerment. So women-led MSMEs drive gender inclusive growth and social mobility. As you might be aware that financial independence is very important for gender empowerment. So it provide financial independence for women. So these are the significance of MSMEs. Now let us discuss about the government initiative for MSMEs. Here you should be knowing about threads. It was there in the news continuously, even in the recent budget it was talked about. So basically these are the receipt given by a buyer to the MSMEs, that MSMEs have given a service to one organization, and that organization give receipt that we will be paying you after some and some time. So that MSMEs can go to a financial intermediary, that can be bank or that can be a NBFCs. So they will be paying that amount, and later they will be taking money from the organization, and this trade is regulated by RBI. There are high chances that there will be a question related to trades in this prelims examination, because last year it was continuously there in the news, and government stress a lot regarding the threats related to MSMEs. First initiative here, it is about PM Vishwakarma scheme. It is to enhance the quality and reach of the product of services by the artisan and the craftsperson which are there in the MSMEs. Then the Prime Minister Employment Generation Program, it is to provide employment opportunity through establishment of micro enterprises other than the farm sector. So to provide employment opportunity, there will be establishment of micro enterprises in the non-farm sector. For that there is Prime Minister Employment Generation Program. Then there is scheme for fund for regeneration of traditional industries. It is in the short form, it is known as Spurti. So it is for organized bring traditional artisan into collective or cluster and support them with technical knowledge, to support them with the finances as well. It include the khadi and the other traditional industries. Then public procurement policy for the micro and small enterprises. It mandate that 25% of annual procurement by the central ministries or the central public sector enterprises will be from micro and small enterprises. If they have to buy 100 products, out of those 100 products, 25 products should be from the micro and small enterprises. It will help the micro and small enterprises to grow. So now let us discuss the PYQ related to this news. It is from the year 2023. Consider the following statement with reference to India. According to the Micro, Small and Medium Enterprises Development MSMED Act 2006, the medium enterprises are those with the investment in plant and machinery between 15 crore and 25 crore. When we were discussing about MSMEs, we have discussed about the definition of or the criteria for defining MSMEs, that is micro, small and medium. For I think medium, it is from investment 125 crores to 500 crores, that is after the union budget of 2025-26, but previously as well it was not between 15 crores and 25 crores. So first statement is not correct. Second statement, all bank loans to MSMEs enterprises qualify under the priority sector. So this is an correct statement. The answer for this question was B2 only. Now let us move to the last main news for today. It is related to lithium ion batteries and the other such type of batteries. The context here is that the alternatives beyond lithium batteries emerges amid the rising sectoral demand. It is related to paper 3, where syllabus talks about science and tech. Let us discuss this news in detail. First of all, the development is that the battery alternative like sodium and fluoride ion batteries offer huge potential apart from lithium ion batteries. So that is the development. Let us first go back into the history. You might have noticed the term volt or voltage. It is there. It is on the name of one of the scientists, Volta. So what he did is he arranged zinc and copper and separated them and formed a battery. That was the starting point of batteries in the year around 1790s. Okay, he was an Italian. Based on his name, Volt is there, and that was the starting point of batteries. And the lithium ion batteries, for lithium ion batteries, the Nobel Prize was given in the year 2019. That is the significance of lithium ion batteries. Let us first understand the basics about lithium ion batteries. So think of a sandwich, and in a sandwich there are two sides and there is a filling in between. So let us think that it is a cathode and it is a anode. In lithium ion batteries, at cathode it is lithium metal oxide and at anode it is graphite along with lithium as well, but it is basically lithium metal oxide at cathode and graphite at anode. And when there is charging, there is flow of electricity like this. Not electricity, electron basically. The flow of electricity is opposite to the flow of direction of electrons. So the lithium which are there, lithium ions which are there in the electrolyte, in the salt of the electrolyte, they passes from cathode to anode at the time of the charging. And when these lithium ion battery is used, then that means that it discharge, this process is reversed. So this is the basic about lithium ion batteries. Okay, whenever you are reading a science topic, please understand it from the basic, because we will be seeing how questions are coming after the discussion of this news. Let us move forward and discuss about lithium ion batteries. We have discussed about its basic functioning. So first of all, about it is a rechargeable battery widely used in portable electronics and electrified transportation. If you are using a laptop, if you are using a phone and smartwatch or an electric car, you are using a lithium ion battery. That is the significance of lithium ion batteries. It have anode and cathode store lithium. Both sides also have lithium. Electrolyte which carries positively charged lithium ion from anode to cathode and vice versa through separator. There is a separator, the polymer separator, from which the lithium ion pass while charging as well as while discharging as well. What are the benefits of it? It has higher energy density compared to the lead acid batteries as well as the sodium ion batteries, and low maintenance and low discharge rate. So it has low discharge rates and low maintenance, but it has disadvantages as well. First of all, about the safety. You might have seen or read the news last year about the fire in some of the electric scooters that was there in the lithium ion batteries. That is one concern. Then another concern is high import dependence and supply chain disruption and slow charging rate. So one of the disadvantage of the electric car is that the time taken for charging of the electric car is very high, and there is higher dependence on the import because lithium is imported from the basic lithium triangle. The most of the lithium is there in the lithium triangle countries, that include Chile, that include Argentina, that include Bolivia. So this was about the lithium ion batteries. Let us move forward and understand about the sodium ion batteries and what are the benefits of it. So it functions similar to the lithium ion batteries but uses sodium ion as charge carrier. In the lithium ion, it is Li plus which passes from the separator. Here it is sodium ion, and it is a rechargeable batteries that generate electricity by moving ions between two electrodes, that we have seen when we were discussing the development. And what are the benefit? First of all, sodium being abundant and it is inexpensive and it is globally available as well. Then safer, as we have discussed when we were discussing about the lithium ion batteries, that they catch fire. So the sodium ion batteries are relatively safer and there is lower risk of catching fire when compared to the lithium batteries. Then transportation storage, they are typically safe when compared to the lithium, as they does not catch fire that fast. Now let us discuss about the fluoride ion batteries, and it is a rechargeable system in which fluoride ion serves as a mobile charge carrier between electrodes during cycling, that is basically between cathode and anode, as we have seen in the lithium ion batteries. And the benefit, it has very high energy density. Very high energy density means that it can result in more energy from a very small area. So it could deliver more than 2000 watt hour per kg. When it compared to lithium, it is 500 watt hour per kg for lithium ion batteries. And fluorine is more abundant than lithium. So these are the basic benefit of fluoride ion batteries. Now let us discuss the PYQ related to this news, and all these 3 PYQs are from the year 2025 only. That is the significance of the emerging technologies or the alternative technologies. First question is the 41st question. Consider the following type of vehicle full battery electric vehicle, second hydrogen fuel cell vehicles, third fuel cell electrical hybrid vehicles. Question is, how many of the above are considered as an alternative powertrain vehicle? Alternative powertrain vehicle means alternative to the crude oil or the petrol and diesel. So such type of questions can be solved by general awareness. You don't have to read it separately. If you observe in and around you that there are full battery electric vehicles are there, hydrogen fuel cell vehicles are there under development, and some of the vehicles have been developed. Then there is full cell electric hybrid vehicles are also there. So answer is all the three. One more question. 42nd question. It is from the basic that we have learned about lithium ion batteries. Question is, in the context of electrical vehicle batteries, that is typically lithium ion batteries, consider the following statement: cobalt, graphite, lithium, nickel. Question is, how many of the above usually make up the battery cathode? Then we were discussing about cathode and anode. We have discussed that at the cathode it is lithium metal oxide, and that metal can be cobalt, that can be nickel as well. Whereas we have discussed that graphite is used in the anode. So it will want to be there at the cathode. So answer would be C, only 3. One more question. Consider the following pairs: country and resource rich in. 1. Botswana. Is it resource rich in diamond? It is a correct statement. Botswana is one of the largest producer of diamond. Then Chile, we have discussed about lithium triangle. It is one of the largest producer of lithium. Then Indonesia, it is also one of the largest producer of nickel. Around 60% nickel is produced in Indonesia. So answer for the 79th question is C, all the 3. So with this we have completed the main news for today. Now let us discuss the place in news for today. So the place in news for today is United Arab Emirates. So the context is not that important, but let us discuss the context first. So UAE have accused Iran launched first attack since ceasefire and drone attack at Fujairah oil facility, injuring the 3 Indians. So in this news we will be learning about the UAE location, and whenever you are reading such type of news, you should be looking at the image or the map, because if you solve the PYQs, you will notice that UPSC have asked question related to the map or related to place in the news which was there in the news. So here UAE is a federation of 7 emirates which include Abu Dhabi, Dubai and Sharjah. So basically there were 7 emirates that come together and form this United Arab Emirates. And what are the bordering countries? There is Oman and there is Saudi Arabia. As this area was there continuously in news, you should be aware about all the countries and their capital and the cities which were there under the conflict, and you should also know about their location from north to south, east to west and other related things. And maritime boundary include Gulf of Oman and Persian Gulf. The Strait of Hormuz was also continuously in the news, and it is between Oman and Iran. If you notice, UAE can provide an alternative to Strait of Hormuz. Then climate, it is desert, hot and humid around there, cooler in the eastern mountain, and there is no perennial stream or regularly occurring bodies of surface water. This is a tropical zone where air descends, so there is low chances of rainfall. There is no perennial river here. And Tropic of Cancer passes through UAE. The Tropic of Cancer also passes from India. Please write in the comment section that Tropic of Cancer passes through from how many states in India. So with this we have completed the place in news for today. Now let us discuss the quick update. First quick update is related to the provision for acid attack survivor. The context is that the Supreme Court have expanded the acid attack victim under the Right of Person under Disability Act of 2016 by including forcible acid ingestion victim and victim with internal injuries. So before, only when acid was thrown on woman or girl, it was included under the Right of Person with Disability Act 2016, but now Supreme Court has said even if there is a forceful ingestion and there are internal injuries, it will be considered under Right of Person with Disability Act. So this is the context here. Now let us understand the legal provision for acid attack survivor in India. First of all, the section 124 of Bharatiya Nyaya Sanhita. So acid attack causing injury or defamatory is a cognizable offence, and that is non-bailable as well, with punishment up to 10 years. So we have discussed about cognizable offence in the earlier news as well. It is a serious offence where warrant is not required. Then section 397 of Bharatiya Nagarik Suraksha Sanhita, it provides for free and immediate treatment at all the hospital, and police intimidation is mandatory. So if there is a survivor, the acid attack survivor, if she goes for a hospital after the attack, she should be provided with the free treatment at all the hospital. That is there under section 397. Then Prime Minister National Relief Fund assistance. So it provide up to 1 lakh aid and recognize for welfare scheme. Then there are legal landform legal judgment as well. One is Lakshmi case. It regulate the acid sale in the country, and there is Parivartan Kendra. It provide for action against the illegal suppliers of the acid in the country. Now let us move to the next quick update. The next quick update is about hantavirus. So it is there in the news due to a cruise ship where around 150 cruise members or the cruise tourists are stranded on a ship due to outbreak of hantavirus. That is the context. So hantavirus outbreak have trapped around 150 people on a Dutch flagged cruise ship MV Hondes, leaving 3% dead. So till now 3% have been reported dead due to hantavirus. And what is this hantavirus? Basically it is a zoonotic virus carried by the rodent, which include rats and mice, that can cause severe disease in humans. And people to people transmission is not observed that much frequently, but how the transmission of this virus takes place, it is usually by through the contact with the infected rodent or their urine, dropping or saliva. And if there is urine and dropping of the rodent, and if the air come into contact and there is people in that surrounding as well, there are chances of transmission of hantavirus. Then it causes two type of syndrome. One is hantavirus cardiopulmonary syndrome, a rapidly progressive condition affecting the lungs and the heart, and there is hemorrhagic fever with the renal syndrome. Until now there is no specific cure available for this hantavirus disease or the disease caused by the hantavirus. So the basic treatment would be for the symptoms which are generated after this hantavirus in a person. Now let us move to the next news. The next news is about the Atacama Desert. It is a basic geographical feature in the South America. It is a desert, and the context is that the light pollution have threatened the world darkest sky in Atacama Desert, impacting the astronomical observation. In this news we will be learning about Atacama Desert. So basically it is there in the northern Chile, that is there in southern America. It is between the Andes and the Pacific Ocean, and here there is a cold current. And as you might be aware that the cold current does not lead to evaporation of water, so there is very less chance of rainfall that result in the formation of desert. Basically desert is very low precipitation. So the coastal non-polar hyper arid desert, it is running through north to south between Pacific Ocean in the west and the Andes range in the east, and it is aridity is caused by the Humboldt current, that is a cold current. Okay, cold current does not lead to rainfall, hot current lead to rainfall. Cold current lead to more fishing and such type of activities, but not rainfall. What are the features? It features include salt pan, alluvial fans, dunes and volcanic cones. There are around 12 active volcano in this, and it support astronomical observation due to clear sky. As the skies are very clear, so it support the astronomical observation, and that sky are impacted by the light pollution, which is hampering the astronomical observation. And what are the major astronomical observation which are there in the Atacama? It include the Atacama Large Millimeter Array, and it also include the Perennial Observatory, and there are other astronomical observation in this desert. Now let us move to the next quick update. The next quick update is about Lepule Pass. It was there in the news last year as well because of its reopening after the meeting of NSAs of India and China. So here the context is that the Nepal has officially objected to India's resuming the Kailash Mansarovar Yatra through Lepule Pass, a territory it claimed based on 1816 Sangoli Treaty. So basically Sangoli Treaty was between the East India Company and the Nepal at that time, that defined the territories. So that is the context. Now let us discuss about the Lepule Pass. So it is an high altitude mountain pass located in Kumaon range of Uttarakhand near the transition of India, Nepal and China. So basically it connects the India to Tibet region of China, and that is given here that it connect Indian state of Uttarakhand with the Tibet region of China, and it is more active in the month from June to September or October when there is no snowfall. Otherwise it is covered with the snowfall. Then about its altitude, it lies at an altitude of approximately 5334 meters. Now let us move to the next news. The next news is about the caracal. Context is that the rare caracal, which is locally known as padang, are spotted in Thar desert near India and Pakistan border. This is the image of caracal. Basically caracal mean the black ear. So these are the cats which have black ear. Then now let us discuss the basic facts of caracal. First, characteristics: they are very secretive. Basically they live in solitude and they are nocturnal. That means they are active in the nights. Some of the caracal become active in the day as well when they are in the colder seasons, and they are known for its quickness and ability to catch flying fish. So they are very quick and they can also attack the flying fish because flying birds, as their jump is very high and they are very quick. Then their habitat is dry savanna and woodland areas, scrubland, rugged mountain regions and desert. They are mostly found in Africa as well as in Asia. So their distribution include Africa, Middle East, Central Asia and areas of Pakistan and India. That include in India, it is Rajasthan, Gujarat and Madhya Pradesh. Threat is related to habitat loss, fragmentation and retaliatory killing. Then conservation status, it is under least concern in IUCN and it is there under Schedule 1 of WPA, Wildlife Protection Act of 1972. And when it comes to conservation effect, It is listed as critically endangered under the species recovery program. So please open on the Google the species recovery program. There are 22 species under species recovery program, and if you observe the questions related to species, they are mostly related to these 22 species. So please read about those 22 species which are there under the species recovery program of India. Now let us move to the next news. The next news is about Pulitzer Prize. So the context here is that the two Indian journalists, that is Anand RK and Suparna Sharma, have won the Pulitzer Prize for their work for illustrated reporting and commentary category for exposing the cyber crimes in India. In this news, we will be learning about the Pulitzer Prize. So it is a prize in journalism, literature and music composition, recognize excellence in reporting and storytelling. So basically this prize is provided by Columbia University, and it was established in the year 1970 by the will of Joseph Pulitzer. So he given money for the Columbia University for establishing a department related to journalism, and also announced that there will be prizes related to journalism, and it is the highest journalism award in the US, awarded annually in the category of 23. In 22 categories there is prize money, but in one category there is no prize money. Then in this year, out of these 23 categories, 2 Indian journalists was given in one of the categories. Now let us discuss the next quick update. The next quick update is about fair and remunerative prices, and the context is that the Union Cabinet have raised the sugarcane fair and remunerative prices by 10 rupees per quintal. This was there in the news before as well, as Union government has formed a draft to change this order and to focus on the ethanol as well. So that's why this ethanol, this fair and remunerative price is become very important for this year prelims examination. Now let us discuss about fair and remunerative prices. It is the minimum price declared by the central government at which sugar mills are legally bound. This is very important. It is that they are legally bound to procure sugarcane from farmers, and they have to pay the dues of the farmers in 14 or I think 15 days. And if they are not able to pay the dues of the farmers, they have to pay very high interest rate to the farmers, that is there under FRP. Its objective is to ensure assured and remunerative prices to the sugarcane farmer, and it was introduced under the Sugarcane Control Order 1966, and the institutional mechanism is that it is recommended by the Commission for Agricultural Cost and Prices and approved by the Cabinet Committee on Economic Affairs. So this was all in this weekly roundup session. If you want to read further about our current affairs initiative, you can visit our digital current affairs website, and you can also solve the smart quizzes there. Thank you and all the best for your upcoming prelims examination.